Calling the Palmdale Aerospace Academy Board meeting to order. It is May 12th, 5:30 p.m. Can we get roll call, please?
Mr. Texpilot? Ms. Gardner?
Here.
Ms. Lee?
Here.
Mr. Trujillo here? Ms. Isaac?
Here.
Here. Mr. Knowles? And Ms. Lopez?
Here. So we have a quorum with 2 board members absent, Knowles and Texpilot.
Justin Knowles is here. I don't know if you heard me.
Oh,
no, we didn't hear
Justin,
you.
we did not hear you. Welcome. Hey, he is here. So, Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Dilger, would you like to lead?
Please stand. Put your right hand over your heart. Ready to begin.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, moving on to public comment for items not on the agenda. Do we have any public comments? Yeah, no. Public comments concerning agendized items. No comments on agendized items. Moving on to reports. Superintendent Lynch.
No reports at this time.
Thank you. Director of Student Services, Mr. Riley.
Excited that we're going to hear from School Services of California tonight. We had a meeting with them prior to the board meeting tonight, and excited for the changes that they're going to propose.
Thank you. Director of Educational Services, Mr. Schatz.
I'd like to thank Dennis for showing up for our ELV classification ceremony and helped pass our certificates. It was a good night and a great program that had. And at our last board meeting, you had asked me to share with that subject program with some of our teachers. I did. I shared it with 14 teachers, our staff members, and they all said that that program is better than the current program that we currently have. And then as far as field trips go, our AP environmental students will be going to the Hill Debate in Santa Monica. Our 11th and 12th grade geology students will be going to the National History Museum. Our Link Cruise Santa Monica Beach cleanup, our 8th grade Six Flags Magic Mountain grad bet night, and our 12th graders to the Universal Studios grad bash the rest of the school year. And conferences since our last board meeting, the National Science Teachers Association Conference, we sent some teachers to the Project Glide Institute and CPI Nonviolent Crisis Intervention.
Do you have a second to share what we're finding out about footsteps of Bryant's from Palmdale
I
School
do.
District?
Actually, I'm working with our tech department. We have the program, and so thank you, Dennis, that we're not ready for that yet. We have all the information. We've done the Zoom with them, but there's a hiccup in there because when we're trying to get our students into the program, it's automatically taking them into the Palmdale School District, so our SIS program is not matching right now. So the tech department is trying to come up with a patch to get to the backside so our kids can still get into it.
Okay, can you want to tell the rest of the board what it is, or do you?
After I get it all hooked up, I'm gonna say thank you, Dennis, and.
No, okay, thank you.
But it is a cool program for our primary kids to help with literacy.
Okay, thank you.
Director of Special Education, Ms. Bessette.
I have nothing to report this evening.
Thank you. Thank you. Director of Facilities, Maintenance and Operations, Mr. Dilger.
Good evening, board. Our teams are very excited to support all of our student promotions and the student year-end activities and events. It's a busy couple weeks, and looking forward to seeing all those smiling students celebrated.
Oh wait, can I add something to that? I do want to say I'd like to thank Mr. Dilger for his work with his team and the classroom remodels, because the teachers are excited. They have them all in place, and we're going to start ordering the furniture.
Thank you.
And we'll share that with the board.
Director of Health Services, Ms. Levick. Not here today. Chief Business Official, Ms. Belzer.
Good evening. I have nothing to share other than ditto what Mr. Riley said earlier.
Thank you. Director of STEAM and Robotics, Mr.
Sure.
Brokey.
STEAM summer school, so we pushed out sign-ups, and we have 105 kids signed up to do this at this point, and a lot of, thank you, elementary, so we got 66 of those kids right now. So a lot of interest in that, so good going forward.
What are the dates?
It's going to be the last week of June, 22nd through 26th. So if you don't know, you got that email in Parent Square or Class Dojo Elementary School. Make sure you sign up.
It's only for elementary school?
It's 1st through 11th grade.
Okay,
Yeah.
awesome. Thank you for that. Employee organizations, PATA? No. PACA? No. Okay, so we're gonna move on and we're gonna change something on the agenda. Before going to consent agenda, we are going to move up, item E1 from new business to be presented by, Ms. Saraswat, right?
No,
Oh,
no, this is,
Which one's that?
our school services,
which one's the one? You said
the
E1.
first one.
School services.
Oh, sorry, not E1, I was thinking this one. Operational study findings.
So it's this one, E1.
It's E1.
Yeah,
E1.
E1, right? It's operational study findings for school services.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my item.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's okay, it's okay.
That's the one we're moving up.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
This is Danielle Connolly from School Services, very well known in the state of California. So we're happy to have her here and to be working with us.
Great. Thank you for the introduction and good evening, Board of Trustees, Superintendent Lynch, thank you so much for inviting me, executive leadership team and school community. I'm happy to be here tonight and also appreciative of your flexibility in adjusting my placement on the agenda. There aren't a lot of travel options anymore, and so I have a plane to catch by 7:30 today, so I appreciate this flexibility. I know, I'm good, I'm fast, so I'll just walk right on that plane, everyone send me good travel vibes. Okay, so what I have tonight is a synopsis of key observations and recommendations as a result of the position control assessment that I conducted here with the Academy in late fall. And so as your team has shared, I met with HR and business services staff and we talked practice and implementation, and we're all very excited about some of the changes that are to come. And so what I'm going to do is provide you with an overview of the study and then walk through some of the key recommendations. And I'm not going to get too far into the weeds unless you want to, because as you're probably seeing, it's a rather technical report. In terms of position control, though, I just want to define that for everyone tonight. Position control is the manner in which you manage your personnel expenditures and your staffing. There are three components to position control. It's budget, human resources, and payroll. 67% of your budget is personnel expenditures, so this is a wildly important function within your academy. And so this is why the superintendent and team invited me in to take a look at your practices and make those recommendations. Prior to coming to School Services of California, where I've been for 7 years, I'm currently the Vice President of Consulting. I run our consulting business. HR is my jam, it's my specialty. Prior to coming here, I worked in school districts for 18 years and have a lot of experience on the operational side of HR and business. So with that said, this particular study is a very focused report on very specific components of position control. For the roles and responsibility, these are your positions within each department that are assigned responsibilities, database management in terms of how you're managing your position, your FTE, and your staffing, and then also payroll operations. Payroll and HR, that nexus where they meet, these are two departments or functions that are reliant on each other. So we often see some operational abrasion there when we are working through our payroll processes. That was the focus of the study. I visited sometime in late fall. No one can remember. That's how much it feels like forever ago. But I was here in late fall. I interviewed the staff in both departments, looked at documentation as part of that study as well. And so, in terms of some of the main observations that I want to point out tonight with the board, what I want to just start with is that you currently don't have a position control technology platform, which is a very common circumstance in a charter school. And so what you have to deal with is you have your homegrown practices and your own ways and processes of managing your personnel. And that comes forth in the way of workbooks and different databases that both HR and business are managing. But that doesn't mean that you can't have practice that mimics position control. So yes, that is an obstruction in terms of you achieving this, but it doesn't make it impossible. And so the recommendations with roles and responsibilities and how you're managing the database were all built with that belief. In terms of the practices and processes, we had ways of doing things, but we weren't articulating that through any documented process or procedure, and there was a lack of consistency within that as well. What quickly emerged during my visit were the roles and responsibilities within both departments, and so even though it wasn't an organizational review of HR and business, I ended up adding that in because I felt very strongly that in order to reach a position control model with balanced internal control, I had to resituate some of the responsibilities within both departments to help align those roles. In terms of the recommendations, they are focused on your operational needs, based on what the academy needs, not people, right? So I visited for one day. I was not able to assess performance. This isn't an audit where I come in and talk about every single thing that's going wrong. I truly looked at this based on what you need as an LEA and based on the staffing resources that you have. So in terms of those roles and responsibilities, right now with your oversight of your HR department, you have a split model where you have a leadership position that's overseeing student services and then also human resources. This is attainable, this is manageable, but we do need to do some work to be very refined and communicate what the position's roles and responsibilities are. I make some recommendations within the report to just simply designate the position as the HR leader by changing the job title, communicating the role of the position. While the split model is working now, I do think it's something that you need to examine frequently as things change and evolve. Academy needs are going to be different than they are today in the future if this split model is truly working, because it is difficult to oversee more than one department, as any school leader will tell you. In terms of the other staffing, technical staffing within an HR department is the most important staffing line in the department. They're the workhorses, the specialists, the analysts doing the technical transactional work. And so I spend a lot of time looking at those positions and what their roles and responsibilities are. The assistant director is your operational classified management leader. I really liked that. I didn't make any recommendations. I like the balance of certificated leadership with classified management as well. And then we have some of our senior HR support roles that are split within certificated and classified services, but you wouldn't know it because the job titles don't really provide that clarity. So I make a recommendation to simply change the job titles, not the roles and responsibilities, but just those job titles to clearly convey what they do. Certificated and classified, it provides a clear line to your employees who are the customers of the department, who they should go to for help, and then helps designate those roles. In the business department, the assistant director of business is a classified management position, but at the time of my visit wasn't assigned any direct supervisory roles. And so I make a recommendation to leverage and utilize that classified management staffing to oversee some of your technical and transactional work. And then there are various ways that we can assign work within a business department. Your current practices, I would describe them as pockets of responsibilities where different staff have, this part of the process and this part of the process, and it becomes difficult to sort in terms of determining who does what, and then also for your staff to manage and grow capacity and expertise in any particular area. So I unpeeled some of that, made recommendations to staff some dedicated payroll for certificated and classified, and that will just help clear up some of those challenges. This slide illustrates the recommendations that I made, just to give you a visual, and calling your attention to these bottom rows here. We see that we're creating some symmetry between HR and business to where we have teams, synergy, consistency. We're splitting the support by certificated and classified. And so we're doing that through some recommended job title changes. Some of the positions that are part of the bargaining unit may also require negotiations and bargaining for those changes in job title and perhaps duties. And those details are also in the report. But again, this is just a model and a suggestion, a framework for change. It's not a directive. So internally, you may make different decisions. As long as we get to a point where we're able to sort out the roles and responsibilities and then clearly communicate what staff are doing, that's the goal. Okay, so I talked a bit about position control and how I recommended to realign some duties to align with best practices and standards. This chart just illustrates what that would look like in a position control environment. I'm not going to take this group deep down into the technical stuff and geek out on position control. I won't do it, I promise. But you see here that we have HR with particular responsibilities as it relates to employee management, business services. Our CBO should be in charge of the position monitoring. That is the position in your organization that is responsible for FTE allocations and the budget and personnel expenditures. So we're assigning that clearly, which is not the case now. Right now, the CBO is in a receiving position of this information, meaning the staffing decisions are made, the new employee is signed up and processed, and then our CBO is finding out about that after the fact, after running some reports. So making those recommendations throughout the report to move the position up with a higher level of responsibility and accountability to put some more controls in those staffing decisions. And then we see with the new hires, and then all of that information is driving payroll. If you were to visualize this process now, payroll is driving all the other information. So we're almost working in reverse, if that makes sense. Okay, so key recommendations. There are some recommendations that are just operational change. They just require a little organization and effort. And let's just start with creating a menu of services and creating more clarity on our website, establishing a website for business services so that we can help communicate our support that we offer to employees or perhaps external vendors. Aligning those job titles with the responsibilities, that's another key recommendation that I made. These are not necessarily a change in responsibility, just simply a clarification in job title. In terms of the distribution of duties in business services, move away from this pocket of responsibilities model and get into a more comprehensive methodology based on number of employees or vendors served and applying that within the department. And then strengthening controls and oversight in the staffing process. I mentioned that before. We're kind of working in reverse, and I'll make some recommendations momentarily about that. Okay, so in terms of our current database systems that we're using, because we don't have a technology platform, we have separate spreadsheets in both business services and in HR, multiple layers of spreadsheets. This is a very common circumstance. The problem is that they're different. And so it's really hard for us to balance our budget, to control our staffing expenditures on different information with different data. So a lot of these recommendations work to centralize and control that information so that we have that one stopping point. And we also have a decentralized hiring model where our hiring managers pop into HR with, stick note or phone call and say, hey, I need to hire this person, and we set forth with hiring the person, and then some of our leadership positions or positions involved with budget aren't aware that this is happening. And in environments where we may need to slow down, implement hiring freezes, or just further evaluate our staffing to see, do we really need this staffing or this position? This current model that you're working under doesn't support that. So the recommendations also want to model those controls. In terms of the staffing approach, again, very common circumstance where when someone leaves, we replace. That's what we do. If someone leaves, then we replace that person. this is a very common practice that we see without that further evaluation. First of all, do we need this staffing? Is this the staffing that we need, or do we need to change the role or the job description? So just implementing some deeper evaluation and methodology to that staffing will help control some of the issues we're seeing in position control. So this is a very detailed chart that staff and I met about earlier, and this is really just a path for the academy to establish position control. And we come up with ways to assign a number to the positions, to give responsibility within each of these areas. It's a very technical plan for the departments to meet and walk through to create that centralized model and the database to help manage your positions. And again, we see here why I was making those staffing recommendations earlier. They all align with these responsibilities, which represent balanced internal control. The other key recommendation is the use of a personnel requisition, which is currently not in use, but will help tremendously. A personnel requisition is a document that communicates about staffing changes, and it impacts everybody within the academy. And so I'm recommending a new form. You can call it whatever you want. Many call it all kinds of crazy things, but I would say call it a PR form. It's easy to say and easy to remember. And so I shared an editable document where I make these recommendations for the business services HR team to work together to create your own document. And then I also recommend a workflow. And you see where I have I move the CBO up in that workflow, where she isn't down below as the last to know. We've got her up front, verifying budget, verifying whether or not we have those resources, and then we have our HR leader and superintendent also right there in the workflow. You don't have to put them there. This is what I recommend. What staff may decide may be modified from that, but you notice that I have also a minimal number of stops, because sometimes we get overexcited about the approval path and we may have 27 stops on this form, and it might take up to 2 or 3 months to get through the process, and that's what we don't want. We want to be efficient with internal control. And then the teams and I met earlier about procedures and how to document our procedures, communicate about our practices. So we walked through some of the ways that we can do that. Your teams are busy. They have everyday work. All this change takes a lot of effort and energy. And so kind of peeling it apart and handling it in phases and sections, this is a very effective way for the teams to do that, and then share out with customers and just anyone who needs to request staffing or needs employment support in any way, communicate out about their process and practice. We did also talk about technology resources that will be necessary as part of this, but again, we've got to start with the process and procedure and establishing that first before we get fancy with our technology. We've got to have some sort of structure in place. And so this was a nutshell version of the report. I hope I touched on and highlighted some of the areas that I felt that you also felt were important. And now I will open it up for any questions. I also want to share a personal reflection that you have great teams, and I really enjoy working with your staff, and they're all very open and excited and ready to set forth with the hard work.
Thank you. So on the technology issue, is that software we're gonna need to get later, or what are we talking about for technology?
Yeah, so probably as far as the position control software, I think the plan now is to just deal with the databases and workbooks that you currently have. But there's document management systems out there that would not only serve this purpose, but could serve many of your educational partners and services. But you know, that's an investment in resources, so we have to evaluate that. But that will be necessary at some point in order to truly be efficient with this.
So this does, or maybe I missed it, this does not include an overview of the processes, correct?
Can you go a little deeper into that question?
So this is more based on positions where they should live and oversee, but there's internal processes, right, that are followed for processing invoices and all that stuff. That doesn't include an overview of that,
All
correct?
of your fiscal, yeah, those are fiscal and accounting processes, and this review didn't include those. It's
Okay.
more, it was very focused on this particular issue.
Okay. So we don't have yet a clear understanding of the workload in these areas, right?
I mean, I gained a clear understanding of the workload in terms of the number of employees that the departments serve. That's a indicator in human resources when we look at the numbers. Also in payroll, we look at those numbers as well. In general, with these technical positions that are handling the employee life cycle, which is start to finish, 350 to 500 employees each position is sustainable. Once we grow past 500 employees, we start to see workload stressors. But as far as overall workload, based on the size of your LEA, I didn't observe or recognize that you need more staffing. It was more the way that the work is arranged within the departments that is causing the stress. We tend to do this in our industry where if we see a problem, we fix it with a person. We say, oh, we have this problem, let's hire somebody. And then we go, we still have the problem, because that's maybe not the route that we need to solve. So I didn't recommend any additional staffing, I just really didn't feel that you needed it.
This was mainly in the main office area. Didn't look
Correct.
too much at
No,
other.
this is staff in business and HR and payroll that were handling position control as part of this assessment. It was not an overarching board review.
What does HR and business department think of this?
As I explained earlier, I think we're excited to do the work and to really have clear delineation of what roles and tasks are, and to actually have what really is, I think the big thing that we've all said to Gina over the last year was that position control is very difficult to manage here because there were processes that were put in place and we were very small. And now this organization functions as a small, large school district. We have 2,360 students, several hundred employees across, TK through 12th grade. There's a lot of things that happen. And so continuing to function as if we were still at Sage and only had 3 or 4 grades, it's not gonna work in the current setting that we have. And so having school services come out and really look at what the processes were, where our disconnects were and where the breakdowns are was actually really exciting especially for the human resources department.
And from the business services standpoint, everyone in business services is very excited to have the position control. I'm very excited about because I wanted to implement it and there was no clear path of understanding, so it really brought clarity for everybody. It brought everybody working together, everybody's excited, and I think for people to really understand what their roles are, and as we implement many of these recommendations, people are feeling supported that their roles are being represented correctly. So we're very excited about it, we're happy with it.
Thank you.
Well, I have a question.
Yes.
Why wouldn't it be more beneficial to have a director of HR and separate the student services director from that task so that they can fully focus on student services versus doing both? HR is a monster of its own anywhere,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I don't
There's a lot of
disagree.
things that come with that. That can take your whole time and your focus is less on student services. So wouldn't that be
Yeah, I
more
mean,
suitable?
it's not working, but it's hard. And I think I started with that and said, we've gotta continue to look at this.
Right.
There are others who, the PPS HR intersect is a popular combination and blend. But there are things that we have to think about, and that's why I noted the assistant director position is super important in the department, because it's handling the operations part of HR. HR is compliance, as you know, and operations and all those different areas, so it is a big job, and I do think long-term sustainability is a question that I would ask about your current model, yes.
Yeah, I think that one is, I mean, I don't, as the HR as it is, it's a lot.
Yeah.
So I think it's not that someone doesn't have the knowledge but the capacity to be able to handle both. It's, one will always
Yes.
be impacted.
It depends on the day, right?
Exactly.
You're never 50-50, you know,
Yeah.
like it just, you might be all HR one day, all, right? It's hard, I don't disagree, and, I just think it needs to be discussed, on an ongoing basis. I mean, HR is, I call it hidden work. A lot of it is work that you don't see, but we have expectations of outcomes. But there could be 37 transactions to just hiring somebody, right? But we don't see that, we just want the person there.
And that's the hiring, it doesn't include all the maintaining
Yes.
on, staff that's
Training,
on site and all
compliance,
of that.
and
It's a
compliance
lot.
is growing and growing. So many LEAs are feeling that.
Yes. Very understood. Okay, so, anybody have any questions on this? Okay, what are we, it's just a report for us, right? We are not.
You're just gonna be accepting the findings or recommendations, and we just move forward with implementing.
Can we bring this back with, further, I would like to know first what is going to be, proposed. Because these are recommendations, but understanding exactly what is going to be proposed. Is the desire to continue having the HR and the director of student services also be HR? Because I would like, I think, to get some report back on what it would look like, the cost and everything for having two separate. The school continues to grow. That's a huge undertaking as it is. I would like to see what that looks like.
So when I met, if I may, when I met with the teams earlier, we talked about this implementation plan that is on page 26, which basically lists all of the recommendations. So gonna work with the teams in terms of prioritizing and documenting some of the movement and share out the progress. I think that would be a good discussion to add as part of the implementation.
And I think the reason that it's a challenge to say that is what we need right now is because we don't have any processes in place. And so part of some of the stuff that happens is because we don't have the processes in place, we don't have the software, we don't have the forms, so the workload may be larger than it will need to be going forward. So from my perspective, I think once you have the people doing the right jobs, the processes in place, the forms, the workflow, the technology, which will take a few months, then after that, then you can come back then and see if it matters, if we need to have those separate things, because we have about 350 employees, and it's like 135 or 38 certificated and 100 and something classified, and then we have subs, which are, and we do stipends and stuff like that. So right now, the model that we have, we don't know 100% how well it can work because we don't have all the other stuff in place. So I believe, like with Danielle's report, it's really saying, go through these steps, do the implementation, put everything in process, get all the approvals, and then let's see how we function then.
So if we approve this tonight to continue with your suggestions, and we decide that we do need another person, we're not gonna waste the time doing this.
No, not at all. It really, I think it's a signal that you're supporting the work and supporting the teams, and this is a process. It's not just something that.
Yeah, it's not gonna be done quick.
Right.
I'm in favor of starting.
Anybody have any questions? Justin, do you have questions?
No questions. I just appreciate the framework and the work that went into it, and I'm looking forward to what administration comes up with in their initial looks. I know this is something we've wanted to look at, and I appreciate the understanding that the timeline is multi-month. This isn't a 2 or 3 or 4 week effort to change and put this framework into place, but 3 to 6 months. And I think it was mentioned by the end of the school year, next school year. So I think there's a great framework to look at and better understand roles and responsibilities from this. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I was just, I guess I'm thinking of, we have a personnel list here of positions that are being hired. HR is about not only recruiting and hiring people, but it's about creating a sense of training and belonging and all of that for staff. It's such a huge factor, right? Because every person on this campus is not a number, it's a person, and they all have different needs and things, and they need to have a place where they could go to HR for certain things. And I just think about it and I'm like, okay, the director of student services also has a lot of students. They just said, right, 20 something hundred students. So I'm just advocating for people to be able to have the balance necessary to provide the focus on those roles that is needed. So that's my recommendation would be to move forward with a motion that we approve with the factor of looking at what it looks like to have those two positions, because I want to be able to start a next school year with kind of already set things in place and not, you know, taking a longer time to see if something's going to work and then have to implement a director if it's needed, right? And I'm not saying that the work hasn't been done and that it's been held up. I'm just saying that it's a lot for one person. The capacity sometimes is not there. And this is a large campus. It has 3 different campuses. You're dealing with a lot of different staff. I'm just advocating for that because I just don't see how the two are you can give the capacity that is needed for that's 2 roles, two big roles. It's not, so that's what I'm saying.
I appreciate that, and I know you weren't here with the history, but I came here as HR director, and when I got interim superintendent, we made Araceli the assistant director, so we had at the time me and 3 other people. Since then, we've added an additional person and an assistant director, and Chris's role is a small portion of HR, it's not the whole HR department. So he spends most of his time on student services. You can actually probably speak to this, but
80/20.
yeah, it's 80/20. So Araceli has taken on a large portion as assistant director, but we also hired another position in that department to backfill that. So I think looking at it, as Danielle says, keep going forward and looking at do we need it going in the future, but I think we've heard from current staff anyway that it's working the way it is right now.
Okay, so long as all the staff feels, I mean, I'm not just referring to the admin staff, but all the staff on the school feels that they have access to HR, and I know Araceli does a great job as well. This has nothing to do with individuals.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that HR is an important piece of wherever we work.
I could not agree with you more.
Okay, motion,
Make a motion to approve the SSC suggestion improvements.
Second.
Well, can I get clarification on that motion? Do we want to make a motion to accept that, or do we want to make a motion that is to take into consideration this as we lay out the real roles and responsibilities and begin to make a correct layout of personnel?
so
I
just,
don't think the purpose of this was to accept this. I think the purpose is to now take this as a framework and look at at overlaps of responsibilities and where people are underutilized and start putting a plan together. I think the motion would be to use this framework to initiate a plan.
Correct, correct, correct.
Like the first line of the last line,
Yeah.
it's framework for it to change.
Okay, there was a second. Call for the question. Those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed say nay. Okay, approved. Thank you. Thank you. Safe travels.
Good luck.
Thank you. Okay, so moving on to consent agenda. Are there any items for the consent agenda that the board would like to pull for discussion? I have two. Justin, do you have any items?
No, I didn't have any to pull.
Okay, I just have two. I have number 2, 3, and actually I have 10. 2, 3, and 10. Call for the motion to approve the remaining of the agenda.
Move that we approve the consent agenda items 1 and 4 through 9.
Second.
Call for the question. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And those
Aye.
opposed say nay. Okay, those items approved. On number 2, I have a question regarding, there is a section on here that doesn't have an explanation as to,
On the warrant list or the vendor direct payments?
it is, number 2 is the purchase order and warrant reports. So it's on the, I assume this is vendor direct payments only. If we look at page 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, there's a lot of things here that say direct pay, shows an account number, and then 4/6/2026 statement. There's no detail, so I would like to know what those are, and if there are details, I would like to be able to maybe move this to the next meeting and see what those are, because it totals $24,000, over
Okay.
$24,000.
So what those are we have, Cal cards, our purchase cards, credit cards, we call purchase cards. And we use them to pay for the conferences, the workshops. Purchasing uses them frequently. There's, like 4 or 5 cards. The superintendent has one, all the directors have one, I have one. We have one in purchasing. The way our accounting system works, it does not allow you to put in a description. We've worked with the developer, and he's like, it just shows up the account. What we do have is for every credit card, it goes through an approval process, and the originator lists on there what the expense is. And I actually was concerned about that also because you cannot see it. So what I can propose is that for all of these credit cards, because it wouldn't be by account number here how it is, but it would be, it's the credit card, the account number goes to, and you're really looking for the description and the amount, and it lists the description and everything on it.
I would rather, I don't know if the board is okay with that, but I would rather move this to the next meeting, and I would like a detailed statement, because I don't know if I missed it on other ones, but I hadn't seen it like this before, and I think to be transparent, I would like to see the details.
And then when we do pay the Cal cards, you have to pay all the Cal cards at once, so they show up on one,
Yeah, it's just, I see these, I actually have a city credit card, it's the
Yes.
same way, they all get paid at once, but they're all very outlined and detailed, it shows what we buy, what we pay for, what it's
Yes.
for.
Many
So-
accounting systems
Yeah.
have like a credit card feature in them, so it allows you to
Okay.
do that, but ours just doesn't.
Okay,
So we can attach that on the back.
that would be great,
Okay.
if it's, and if you are unable to share it, you know, I know some things are, well, and
We can just
everything's
scan it as a
public record.
PDF and attach
That
it
would
to
be
the back.
perfect, thank you. Okay, so that's on that one.
Do we need to vote to move that to the next
Yes,
meeting?
actually, we do.
So I move that we move the approval of the purchase order and pay warrants to our next meeting.
Second.
Okay. Call for the question, those in favor, say aye. And
Aye.
those opposed, say nay. Okay, so this one will be brought back to the next meeting with the detailed breakdown of the statements. Okay, number 3, which is C3. I just had questions because if we could have a little bit of clarification on campus security. So it shows that is that to replace people? Is that adding campus security? Is this for the high school? Is this for the elementary school? What are these for?
It's replacements.
Of current ones?
Yes.
For which campuses?
Secondary and elementary.
One for each.
One for each.
It's one for each? Okay. I'm sorry, does anybody at the top of the head have how many campus securities we have on staff?
That was 22.
Yeah,
22.
21, I think it was as much as
It was
28.
22 before we had some.
Yeah, it's 21 now,
revolve.
you're right.
Do we know how many are on the elementary side and how many are on the high school side?
6.
There's 7 anymore.
7
Four
elementary.
that are part-time and 3 that are
I'm sorry, there's 7 in the elementary?
4 part-time.
4 part-time, which is 5 hours, and the other 3 are 8 hours.
And then on the high school campuses, the remaining, because that's the same,
14.
the remaining 14
And
over
do
here.
those include,
Those do not include any new hires, because I mean, I haven't received any of these letters, so I can't speak for that, I'm sorry.
Okay,
I'm just telling you what I have as of
you have 7 over there, right?
now.
And that,
Right now.
and that is sufficient for the elementary school, correct?
Seems to be working.
Yeah, okay. And the 14, so these 14, are these 2 that are being hired in addition to those 14, or that makes up the
It
14?
makes up the 21 total.
Okay. 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 So I assume we have good coverage. I'm asking these questions because I know we had some incidents recently on campus. I'm trying to make sure that both campuses have what they need and that none are being removed from one side to the other. So I assume that since we have 14 on this campus, it sounds like that suffices without having to remove the ones from the elementary school, correct?
That we would need from our safety and security specialist, because
Okay.
I know she's looking at that and where areas are of need for supervision and where we
Okay.
can back off on supervision.
If for the next meeting, we can get an update on
Sure.
that, I just wanna make sure, I know we had asked for an update as well on getting numbers of possibly having a deputy on site, if that is possible, so
Yeah,
maybe
we're
for the
waiting to hear
next
from
meeting, if we can get that. But definitely for the next meeting, if I can get if we can get a report as to how many are over there, how many are on site, and I want to ensure that we look at not removing any of the ones from elementary school to cover the high school. So I
Unless
wanna
it's
make
needed.
sure, well, in an emergency, but I wanna make sure that we do have that, cause we're also looking at the deputy. But we wanna make sure that the elementary side also has what they need as necessary.
So we will look at the organizational structure of both sites and what their needs are based on supervision, safety, and what's best for the sites, and bring
Yes.
it back to the board.
That'll be
I can tell you the officer, the quote we received was $251,000, which does not include the 3% liability. We sent a letter to the LA sheriff, and it takes a while to get the answer
Mhm,
back, but they're gonna give us the current rates because they go up in the next
Yeah.
year.
But just to find out, I think,
Yeah, of course.
I think
We're
based
gonna
on
be
the
having-
things that have happened, the board should be able to have a discussion, right? We want the safety of the students, but of all of you too. And so that is very important. Okay, and then the last one is number 10.
Do we need to vote
Oh,
on anything for
yes.
item number 3?
Thank you, Ellen, because you're keeping me focused today. Yes. So, call for the question, please.
I move that we approve the monthly personnel report for May 12th.
Second.
Call for the question. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And
Aye.
those opposed say nay. Okay, approved. And for number 10, it's just, I don't know if someone can give a brief, this is the only one that I wanted to understand a little this one, because it's new, this is not a renewal, right?
It
So
is
just
absolutely
Just a
new.
little, you don't have to give us like a long, just understand a little what it is.
So when we went through collective bargaining with both PACA and PATA, one of the things that we had agreed upon was having an advisory healthcare committee that is comprised of the administration, teachers, and classified staff. Part of that involves some form of education for everybody that's involved. So we worked with CTA, and CTA has in the past used this group before they were this group. Used to be something called Checker, and the person that led that is now the leader of Volition Group. And they are a neutral party. They don't represent school, they don't represent CTA, but they actually teach staff about healthcare decisions, different product and options that are out there. And so this will help facilitate the education that's required for us to really to have a group that's, we know what we're doing, we know what we're talking about, and we know what we're looking for as we continue to move forward, especially in a healthcare market that continues to have rising costs. So that is what the Volition Group does. We originally, you can see there's multiple options, one up to $12,000. We're going with the education part of it first to kind of see what do we know and what we don't know, and then we will look and see, do we need to add the additional services as we move forward? If there's even a different group that does a very similar thing and can do it at a different cost. But up front, we want to be able to educate all of our staff members that are going to be a part of that committee.
Okay, so is this a one-time?
Yes, this is a
one-time, right?
one-time.
Okay.
It could turn into more than a one-time depending on need. But right this second, we have to figure out what we need before we determine purchasing something else.
Is there a certain number of staff that will be the ones trained on this?
It's an intercollective bargaining agreement that delineate how many classified staff, how many administration, and how many certificated staff members are a part of the committee.
Okay. Does anyone have questions on this? No? Justin, do you have questions? No?
Do not.
I realized I forgot number 11, I'll do it after this one.
Okay, so no further questions, we can call for the motion.
I move to approve the Volition Group contract.
Second.
Okay, call for the question, those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed say nay. Okay, item approved.
And then I realized I inadvertently forgot to list number 11 in our first approval, so I think we do need to give an explicit approval. So I'd also like to move that we approve the campus-wide curriculum update contract.
Second.
Okay, call for the question, those in favor say aye.
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 And those opposed say nay. Okay, approved. We move on to discussion items. Update for the board on advanced placement classes. Is that Mr.
All right, good evening, board. Last board meeting, you guys asked for an update on AP scores. So we pulled some data. You're looking at a 5-year score summary, where we were at in 2021, with the percent of total students who scored a 3. This is one of the questions that I want to clarify. So this is how, by the exam. So however many exams they took. And you can see the total number of exams taken back in 2021 was 318 compared to last year, 2025. We don't have any data for this year because our students are currently taking the AP exam, and so they're just about done with that at the end of the week. But take a look at how that percentage has grown over the last 5 years, from 28% of our students scoring 3 that had 3 or more on the exam to almost 62%. And in addition to that, we also have the total number of students right, having access to these exams, going from 181 to 271, which is tremendous, right? We've had growth in not only providing access for students to take these exams, but also success. And the next slide has a breakdown of that, but I want to kind of pause for a second to see if the board has any, well, I guess any questions at the end. It's only 2 slides, but let me go over this one. This one is kind of breaks it down a little bit further, and then I'll open it up to questions. Here's a breakdown of all the AP exams that we've had throughout those 5 years. A couple of ones that and I'll point this out because you'll see some sort of anomalies, like this Spanish language course where we had a total of 0 students that were enrolled but yet 3 tested. So those students, we weren't able to offer the course because we didn't have enough student interest in the course, but however, 3 of our students opted to take it on their own. And so we ordered the test for them, and they took it, and then you can kind of see like the means, how they did on that test, right? So the mean score was 3 that took it. And then there was another one that, computer science principles was one that we hadn't offered previously. We offered it last year in 2025, and then you can kind of see the breakdown of it. This one is, again, in a similar situation to the Spanish language where we offered it in the past, but we weren't able to offer it again this year because of student interest. And then down below, I'll give you guys a second to kind of sit with the data. It's a lot. I kind of put a little asterisk on this one. This was from last year. Miss Christy Roberts, who's no longer with us, she was out on maternity leave, and so that's why you'll see a big gap. In the past, Miss Roberts was I'm sure she still is, a phenomenal teacher, and so she had a very high success rate, and so this last year's data of 2025 for students and their pass rate is 47.6% compared to the state, which is 74% for this AP exam, but it's not indicative of like that teacher. I will say it was just that outlier year because she was out for a significant amount of time due to being out of maternity leave. So I kind of wanted to throw that out there. On the far right side over there, you'll see the number of courses that we plan to offer for next school year. You're looking at 26, 27. Some of the 0.5 is like a combo class just because we don't have enough students enrolled. You'll see like last year we had about 15 kids that were taking the Calc BC class. And so unfortunately that's not enough for us to offer a full section. So what we do, we try and get creative, we offer a combo class. We put those 15 kids with a combo Calc AB class, and that's what will give us 2 full periods. So I'll let you guys sit with that for a second. And then if I'm missing anything, feel free to ask. So, yes.
What is the zeros on number of courses next year? Does it mean that we're not going to offer AP classes there?
Correct.
Is there a reason for that?
So, yes. A lot of those reasons have to do with student interest. So if we only had 16 students that showed interest in taking the AP Art History, then that wasn't enough for us to offer those.
Well, I guess what is not enough? Because if there's 16, that's 16 kids that want to take it. So is it that we can't offer the class, or can we, I guess, and the board can share after me as well. I don't want to, this is important.
I agree.
It's important because some of these kids end up going to college and saving a little money if they don't have to take certain classes, right? My daughter didn't have to take any English classes in college because her AP scores were well, and she didn't have to do not one English class in her degree. 2, this is a charter school. We should thrive to offer things that are not offered as much in other places. So I think having 0 in art history and biology and chem and also in, I know Spanish language, there was 3 this year, but if there's interest of 15, etc., I guess I would need a good explanation as to why we wouldn't be able to accomplish that.
Sure, yeah.
Are there any courses that would, maybe college that could go in for some of these AP courses?
We could go through the dual enrollment program.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So we have the kids.
I can answer Ms. Lopez's question if it helps. So we have a union contract now that has set class size language in it. And when we have some teachers who have 35 students and we are giving them the same amount of money that we're giving someone to teach one half that class, it's inequitable to the teachers. When there's no student, and then we're paying for only 15 students when we could fill other classes. I could talk in the, do you have the slide that shows the science trajectory?
No, I think that one was on the other, the older presentation, but I can talk about that.
So
Chemistry, so what we found is that we are being inequitable to our students. Some students are not being offered chemistry at all, the way our current program has been, because we have so many AP classes that they can't access that they're not able to take chemistry. So,
why wouldn't we just add regular chemistry to the curriculum?
that's what we're doing.
Why are we taking away
I know,
educational
I
opportunities
have
where kids
a
are
challenge
succeeding?
with
That's what,
I can.
can I finish what,
Oh, sorry.
let me finish what I said.
Sorry.
So we're not giving chemistry to every student because we had some AP classes that took away from students being able to take regular chemistry. And because we are a STEM science school, I need to find that slide that I sent you. I thought we kept it in there. So, I don't know if the board can see this, I know the public can't, but basically in 9th grade, they take earth science. In 10th grade, they take biology. In 11th grade, they take chemistry, but we had a lot of students who are unable to take chemistry because we cannot find chemistry teachers. We have searched high and low. They're very hard to find. So with what we have currently, we have students not taking chemistry, and that is an equity issue. And in order for all students to be able to take it, the best way to do it is to offer the AP courses in 12th grade. So when we have students who are STEM and mathematics students, they would take earth science, biology, chemistry, and then they could take physics because they took chemistry. We were cutting off some kids from taking physics even because of the chemistry issue. If they take earth science, biology, chemistry, and then AP chemistry, those would be the kids that would be the science-oriented kids or the medical students who want to look to going into medical fields. Or they could take AP biology, which would also take them into the science and medical fields. Or if for students who are undecided and don't know what they want to do, they still get all their core of science, and then they can take an astronomy or geology elective course. This is an improvement to what we have because it serves all our students.
So
I understand that.
I
Go
hear
ahead.
that we're bound by the restrictions on class sizes that are listed in the union contract. But I originally raised my hand because I wanted to say props to AP Biology and AP Chemistry for their outstanding success rates. And then I noticed the 0 courses in both of those columns and some of the other columns.
Right.
So I hear you about the equity issue too. I think we absolutely, as a STEM school, should be in a position where we offer all of the STEM subjects to all students. But I don't think the solution is to take away educational opportunities where there's a base of students who are interested and they're succeeding.
And
So
can't the
would that be-
chemistry, can't the teacher that teaches chemistry teach a AP class?
Yes.
So then,
She is.
so then we wouldn't need to remove, some of the courses.
So, I'll talk
We, I'm sorry, Mr. Sullivan. I'm sorry, I know I get a little passionate, but I'm just like, I think it's our job to motivate the kids to get to that point. Like, they need motivation. And I think removing things is not towards motivation. It's towards just, okay, we'll just give you the regular classes and so be it. I'm going to advocate for the kids. I know you're gonna finish, but I'm gonna advocate for the kids, and I really would love to, and I don't know how the rest of the board feels about this, but I really am challenged with
Can the
reducing
board
classes.
direct us with how many students you feel is fiscally sound for having a class? Like if 3 kids
We
want
would
it,
need that.
we'd be turning away those 3 kids versus 11 who want it. What's the number for the board that you feel is appropriate to hold a class?
Well, I
Because
get,
most schools in California it's 20.
I think it's but in most schools, you have maybe a lot more kids than we do here, right? So we also have to look at that. I don't know, I have a huge challenge in taking this opportunity from completely off the table for them, especially in art history and biology and chemistry. That's like important subjects, and that pushes them. I have a challenge with that, but that's my thoughts.
This is unrelated to the ongoing discussion, but I also wanted to ask if there's other opportunities to do stuff like what we did with Spanish language, where we weren't able to offer a course, but we were still able to give the opportunity for those students to get tested. Do we know if there's interest like that in any of the other subjects that we don't teach classes in?
That we don't teach classes in, so I
Yeah.
know that there's been years that because the biology course has fluctuated. Some years we're offering it based on student interest, other years we don't. And in those years that we don't, we do have a group of students that will kind of come together and just want to take the exam, and one of the teachers will kindly open up their doors. I think it was Miss Daly a couple of years ago, who opened up her doors and just taught those kids the AP bio on the side and had those kids tested. So there is those situations.
Is there any way of doing a combination class where you have half kids that are taking regular chemistry and the other half taking AP?
There is,
yeah.
that's what's a suggestion here.
Can we do something like that?
Yeah, but this test is removing AP completely, it doesn't say
Yeah, if we did a
0.5.
combo class where you have,
So
We have to redo the master schedule for next year, but yeah.
I think it's worth it to redo the master schedule to fit in the opportunity for students who are
because
interested.
you're right about the class size, the union will say something if we have a 15-person class. But if we have a combo class, that keeps it.
We could look at that, yes.
But-
I do want to point out also, we have a large number of underserved students here. Our scores are so low, we cannot be heavy on the AP with teachers who could be serving our students who need the most help. And it is really difficult to get teachers in some of these subjects. And while I 100% agree that students should have the opportunity, and if we can offer it, I know Dr. Sullivan has offered teachers to teach a 0 period to add these courses when there's student interest. I philosophically feel, like many administrators in California, that a class under 20 is too small to fiscally be able to pay for that when you're affecting all these other students who can't take classes and get the good, teaching with that. So I'd like the board, if you're directing us to how to do this, please let me know a number so we know, because we can't do a master schedule without that.
I think for us
to
to,
look at the combo, if it's
But
possible.
I think for us
also
to
think
look-
we need teacher input
I
on
know,
combination classes.
yes.
I don't know how
They
they
don't
feel
like
about
to do
that.
I know
I
they
would
don't
like
know.
to
I
hear
know they
from
don't
the
know.
teachers. I understand that sometimes it's, but I would love to hear from the teachers, because this is about the kids. And for me, I can be annoying to some or whatever, but this is, for me, is about the kids. And I feel the teachers are the ones that are engaging with the kids all the time. It's not us, we're not there. And I'm not ready to make me personally, I'm not ready to make a decision like this if I don't have all the facts. If,
Well, I know that
if
Dr.
it's
Sullivan
about-
talks to the
if
teachers
it's about,
his master
I
schedule.
understand that, but I also believe Mr. Sullivan would be okay with us hearing from the teachers, because I believe he has a heart for teaching, I believe he has a heart to do it, and I don't think you would oppose, right, for us to hear from the teachers?
Absolutely.
Thank you. In addition to that, I think knowing what the numbers are, I hear that there is a cost to this, right?
Correct.
We don't know what that is, so we can't make that decision right now. So what would the cost be? What would the cost be? What if, I don't know, what are the options? Is there an option of offering a 0 period at the beginning or an end for AP class? If that's the option, I don't know. I just feel that,
I
I'm
think
sorry.
if there's anything we're gonna spend money on as a school, offering
It's-
more educational
yes,
opportunities is a good use of that
100%.
money.
100%.
And I just feel as a charter school, you
That
you
is
always
true.
hear that a charter school is supposed to be something totally opposite from a regular,
Yes.
quote unquote, regular school.
Yes.
And so to take away AP, when they do have AP in the other school, we would be defeating our purpose as being set apart and above.
Yeah. And I mean, I understand there's the union conversation that came up, but I guess my question is, has that happened before? Where they have, I mean, it's for the interest of the kids, so are there teachers that would oppose that when there's 15 kids that wanna get an education on AP? Is the union aspect more stronger than allowing those kids to, just my question, because I mean, to me, teachers are here because they wanna teach, right? This is a vocation that doesn't, not just anybody comes and does it. If they do, they're bored out of their minds or they hate their job. But, if they're there to, I just don't see how they would advocate, and I may be wrong, respecting the union, but I just don't see how they would come and.
I think they would like the combo. We'd have to hire more staff because right now, chemistry, but we'd have to be able to be fiscally sound for 3 years out. And so chemistry classes, there are every single period is full, right?
Yeah.
And so if we did a combo, we'd be kicking out half those kids somewhere else and they wouldn't be able to take chemistry. So we'd have to add a point
No, we don't
two.
have any classrooms.
We don't have classrooms either, that's the other issue.
But
So
could it be offered as a zero
It would
period?
be 0.2 or, so she's already doing a 0 period, but it would be 0.2, I think we'd have to hire, or 0.5.
Yeah.
We'd have to look at that. I mean, we could, if that's what the board wants, we just find space for it.
Bring that back to us. Let us know the options, right? I think we can get options and we can look at it, but in a way that the options allows for this to be possible without zeros at the end.
So we will try to get that by the next board meeting. We're supposed to have given them all their classes and their master schedule by now so that they can prepare. It's already done. They all know what they're teaching. So we're gonna uproot everything, but we can do that and talk to teachers and let them know that's the board's direction. That's good.
We would like to hear from the teachers.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And I just want to say, to understand what Gina was saying,
Yes.
what is a number? What is the right number? So we can also, talk about what we think is the right
So
number.
if they bring to us what the cost of that be, because it sounds like there's a cost if there's only 15 kids or
Right.
11 kids.
Exactly.
If we get that, then we understand and look at it. We have a better picture, clearer
Exactly.
picture to give direction. That work?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think that
Thank
makes
you.
sense.
Thank you.
I have one question.
Oh.
Is the art history class, is that 2 semesters? Can you offer it maybe second semester for those kids? Or?
It's a year-long course.
It's a year-long
year-long course.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so moving on to new business, number 2, public hearing on the Pondo Aerospace Certificated Association had an initial proposal for negotiations to the Pondo Aerospace Academy for the 2026-27 school year.
Hi, we're the person making furious gestures in the back. To go back to that, number 1, art history was not in the VAPA section, so a lot of kids didn't know where art history was, which is why some of them didn't know to enroll. I was told that, because I have all seniors, so I didn't go through the enrollment process this year. I was told that by another teacher who saw it. And we have a maximum number in our contract, we don't have a minimum. And speaking as someone who has taught high school for the bulk of my career, I don't care if my friend who teaches chemistry has 15 kids who want it. If I have to have the maximum number in my class, I don't care if those 15 kids are getting what they need. We have a max, not a minimum.
You don't have a balance?
Like, yes, there is the overage blah, blah, blah thing, the math that has to happen, but there is no minimum. And I speak for most of us on the high school side, who we want the kids to get what they need.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, so now for the sunshine part, the fun that I'm here for. We will be opening Article 9, which is compensation. That is an automatic reopener. We want to maintain competitive with our surrounding district for all of us, the gen ed teachers, the SPED teachers, my speech language pathologists, and our psychologists. This is an automatic reopener for both sides. Also Article 10, which is health and welfare. Along with our healthcare committee, we all know healthcare prices are driving us all to seek out help, like caffeine, because the healthcare prices are really out of control, but it's also in all of our best interests to offer a fair and competitive packaging for existing employees and potentially for retirees, as some of us are getting older and getting closer to retirement. We are also opening up Article 12, which is workday, work year. The association has an interest in ensuring that all teachers who are asked to cover for a failed substitute are compensated for any additional work they perform. And additionally, the staff would like to ensure that academic calendars are provided in a timely manner to allow staff to plan for PD or vacations over the summer. And then Article 15, an evaluation. The association's interest is in ensuring that all members will have sufficient time to prepare for upcoming evaluations, including if there has to be a rescheduling involved. And additionally, the association has an interest in ensuring that all staff who require placement on an improvement plan receive support in a timely manner.
Can we ask a question?
Fire away.
For Article 12,
Mhm.
can you elaborate a little on, I guess, what, for a failed substitute?
Last week I had to proctored AP exams. So someone has to sub for my classes because I was proctoring. If there isn't a sub who can, cover me, one of my coworkers might have to sub during her prep time.
Got it.
That's a failed substitute situation.
Got it. Okay. Thank you for clarifying that. And then, what is in a perfect world? What is referred to as timely manner to receive the academic calendar?
Well, for next year, before today, like maybe, April. That we know. So like a lot of school districts, so my husband works with a high school district, they get 2 years out. And I know this year is the first time we've tried to do it 2 years out. So I see that we are working toward the more timely manner, but it can be a little frustrating for some of us who want to take PD that isn't a TPAA PD, and we have to figure out, well, will we be back in time? Especially the ones that are closer to, August, because some of them fall in August, unfortunately. So, but we're working on that, so we may not have to talk about that, because this year you guys are voting on 2, so that helps us all a lot.
Okay. Perfect. Does anybody have any questions on any of the articles? What, on 15, interest is in ensuring that members will have sufficient time to prepare for upcoming evaluations.
It's currently like 2 days advanced warning.
What are the evaluations? Employee evaluations?
Yeah, So, for example, last year was my on year. So, well, in my case, I got an email in August. Here are some dates. I picked one. So I had Dr. Sullivan is very good. We get, generally speaking, our original one is planned about a month in advance-ish. Mine was about a month. But sometimes things happen, especially for people who, unlike me, have 2 evaluations per year. And sometimes Dr. Sullivan has to take care of other problems. And my evaluation is not his #1 priority in that instance, so he has to reschedule. And for some people, finding out, less than 24 hours that, oh, your reschedule is tomorrow. What? Wait, huh? So a little more advanced warning, especially with the reschedules. In my personal experience, I haven't had much of an issue with Dr. Sullivan and giving me ample time. I think it's, but some people have had very little warning.
Okay. And how about the second section? In addition, the association has an interest in ensuring that staff who require placement on an improvement plan receive support in a timely manner. What is timely manner?
Well, if you put someone on an improvement plan and no one comes to counsel you, advise you, support you, why were you on the improvement plan in the first place? So there have been some teachers who were told, you need to be on this improvement plan, okay, and then nothing happened in terms of support for them. So how do you know if whatever the issue was has been fixed if no one has come to support you? So that's been an issue.
Thank you. Any questions? No. Justin, do you have any questions?
I don't.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
on that one.
Make a motion to approve PATA's initial proposal for negotiations.
Seconded.
Call for the vote. Those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed say nay. Okay, item approved. Next one, public hearing on the Palmdale Aerospace Academy's initial proposal for negotiations to the Palmdale Aerospace Certificated Association, PATA, for the 2026-27 school year.
So we have very similar openers, there's always the two openers that involve, pay and healthcare benefits. The only other one we're gonna open is in employee discipline and dismissal. Specifically because Ed Code is very specific about certain criminal offenses that automatically result in termination or administrative leaves. Because we don't follow Ed Code based on the mega waiver, we have to negotiate what those are. So we're going to open up discipline and dismissal so we can specifically add the language. One great example, if you're arrested for a sex offense, you don't have to be tried for it, you don't have to be charged for it. Education code automatically allows school districts to terminate that employee. So we have to negotiate it based on mega waivers, so we're going to look at what criminal offenses would constitute either a termination or placed on administrative leave. So that's why we're gonna open that one.
Any questions on this one? Justin, do you have any questions?
No questions.
Okay, call for the motion.
I move that we approve the Academy's initial proposal for negotiations.
Second.
Call for the vote. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those
Aye.
opposed say nay. Okay, item approved. Now, moving on to recommendation to approve the amended and restated bylaws. Board have any questions, anything that they would like to discuss? I know we've been through these a few times. It is important that we approve bylaws that everyone agrees upon, because this is what we're gonna have to abide by.
I had a question on 7.2, the student voting question.
I was just ready to
Okay.
do that. Okay, so she said, it means with their vote, the student expresses their preference on the matter. Their vote is tallied and recorded, but does not count toward quorum or majority,
Okay.
which is the term they use.
And 7.4, there's a removal for board members for cause, but we don't really have any definitions of cause. There's a paragraph following that one that has 4 or 5 different things you can be removed for. If that's what our causes are, then I'm okay with that. I'm not sure if that's what we're saying are the causes. And then there's 9.2 is just one example. There's several places where we need to add that we have a vice president now. When we talk about the officers on the board.
But back to when you just said, what is the direction on that you want to have the director, or do you want it to say any big review without cause for items in point 2 or section 2?
7, I think it was 7.4.
Yeah, but I mean,
Oh.
there's a B removal and then there's a letter I. Any director may be removed without cause by majority of directors. And then any may be removed without cause by the directors then in office. And then the next one you said has all the reasons. Do you want to combine that? What do you want to make note of?
Yeah, if the next paragraph is the causes, then that's fine. If that's what we're saying the causes are.
So it's not without cause.
No, there's. Well, it has with and without cause.
Section I says both with and without.
Yes,
With is I and without is I.
You mean this one right here? This is 7.4 you said, right? Vacancies.
74BI.
74BI, any director may be removed and with or is scratched out without cause by a majority of the directors then in office and the written consent of designating agency. Any director may be removed with cause by a majority of the directors then in office.
This isn't the
That's
one that was sent
contradicting,
to us.
yeah.
This is
And,
their original. The one was sent with us is a little different.
This was what's in the, attached to the agenda.
That's what this is.
I printed
That's
it
what
out.
Marty just said, right?
Yeah, and then I also have questions because I don't recall that we discussed changing the term of office from 3 to 2 years, right? We didn't discuss that, and it says all directors of the corporation shall serve a term of 2 years, expiring on July 31st of the 3rd year of office. I feel like we need to move this to another date, because there's things on here that I don't think this is what we had discussed. So
Yeah, there's other places in there that talk about 3-year terms.
yeah, and this is 2 years here, so I don't know.
So I think the attorney took, remember there were blue lines on it and red lines on it, and she tried to clean it all up, and the purpose of now is just for you to tell us what you want us to put on there, so if you wanna email me the changes, then we can bring back a cleaner copy. It was really hard to read, I know that,
Yeah.
so she tried her best, but there's been so many copies of it.
Okay, okay, so,
She wanted clarification of who was actually going to approve board members to.
oh, that's another thing too, on section 7.3, it says that, that's here, but that's the number of directors, but then on the designation of directors, the directors of the board shall be selected in the following manner, the school district, the city, and then it says the academy shall designate 2, shall be filled by the board development committee with an individual, and then it says the board development committee shall administer and oversee the gathering of applications. The board development committee shall meet with, yeah,
Mixed up because it was blue and red. So how about, can we wanna designate somebody to be the go point for the board?
I
Send me one group of them, is that, do you think that would work?
yes.
Okay, so Nardi, can you send me the syllabus and send me all the changes?
Okay, so we're gonna motion to move this, I'm gonna say future board meeting in case we don't get it to the next one. So Dennis, you wanna call the motion
Yes.
that we move this to the future board meeting?
I'll make a motion that we table this issue right now. For the meeting.
Okay, call for the vote. Those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, opposed nay, and we'll move on. Recommendation to approve the Palmdale Aerospace Academy 990 and 199 tax returns.
So as a nonprofit, we are legally required to file an informational return only, and the 990 is a federal return, and the 1099 is a tax return. So we're just asking to approve it.
Okay, does anyone have any questions on the returns? No? Call for the motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the recommendation to approve the Palmdale Aerospace Academy 990 and 199 tax return. A second.
Okay, call for the vote. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Okay, motion approved. Recommendation to approve the Palmdale Aerospace Academy Foundation 990 and 199 tax returns.
And again, the Palmdale Aerospace Academy Foundation has its own tax ID number, but it is a nonprofit, 501c3, so we are required to submit an informational return.
Any questions regarding the foundation tax returns? No? Call for the motion?
I make a motion to approve the recommendation to approve the Design Create Explore LLC 199 tax return.
We're on number 6.
What's that? You
Palmdale
said number
Aerospace
6,
Academy
oh, the wrong
Foundation.
number, okay. Okay, the number 6 is recommendation to approve the Palmdale Aerospace Foundation 990 and 199 tax return.
Second.
Call for the vote, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Item approved. Recommendation to approve the Design, Create, Explore LLC 199 tax returns.
Same thing, nonprofit, it's just a state return that we have to file for that one.
Call for, any questions on this item? No? Call for the motion?
I move to approve the Design, Create, Explore LLC 199 tax returns.
Second.
Call for the vote, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Item approved. Board direction up regarding participation in the Youth Cinema Project YCP.
All right, good evening, everyone. So if you remember back to the beginning of the school year, Mr. Trujillo had a couple of guys that came up here and they did a presentation to the board on the YCP, the Youth Cinema Program. And I've been working with them all year long to try and see if there's a way that we can get them to come and do this for our academy. And I'd actually like to thank Dennis because he arranged for us to be able to go to one of the Palmdale's middle schools so that we could see the program in action. So a group of us went there and we were able to see the classroom, we were able to see some of the equipment. We actually went outside and saw them doing a little bit of video of their program that they're doing for the film they're making. We got to go back inside. We saw the soundproof room and the storage room. And there's a lot of equipment that spilled over into another one of the classrooms over there. I uploaded into Gamut both the middle school and the high school list of equipments. So hopefully you have that in front of you. That is needed for the program because there are two separate programs, and the high school does more advanced stuff than the middle school. So you'll see that list is a little bit longer than the middle school list on there. And so one of the cool things about it is when we're able to talk to the Palmdale teacher and we're able to ask him some questions about the program, and he did a great job of answering the questions. But one of the questions I asked him was, how important is it to have that soundproof room? Because we currently don't have a soundproof room. And he said that it's extremely important. We would not be able to be successful with this without it. So we came back to the school, we put our heads together, and one of our dilemmas, and I'm going to show you some different examples here. One of our dilemmas that we have here is that we don't have a spare classroom for this in order to offer this program. So we've been talking about, well, there's thinking outside the box, what other ways could we possibly do this here instead of doing it during the school day? And so we talked about doing a summer school program. And so I got back with the YCP group and did a couple of Zoom calls with them and lots of emails back and forth. And so what is uploaded into Gamut for you is 2 for the high school, 2 for the middle school proposals. One is if we purchase the equipment, one is if we rent the equipment on there. But before we got going on that one, we needed, there it is, we put together with the YCP program, what would this look like before we even reached out to our kids. And our summer program would be 20 days, that's what they offer. It'd be 4 hours from 8 o'clock in the morning until noon. We've already got the dates lined up. If this is what you choose to do, we would go this direction. They offer 1 middle school session for 30 students. That's their maximum. They do not take more than 30 students. They offer 1 high school session for 30 students. Of course, if you wanted to do, if we had 60 kids or 90 kids, you know, the price, we just double or triple that price on that. But that would be for the summer program. So on the things that I uploaded in the Gamut view, you see there's like 2, 3 page and a half for each different contract. So I'm not going to go over all that, but I kind of condense it a little bit. If we were to do the summer program, 1 summer program class with the high school, and we were to purchase the equipment, adding all this up together that they give us, their cost that it would cost us, we have an additional cost because they would require one of our teachers to be in the room with them. So that cost for 1 teacher to be present, and that would include the benefits because that's what we would have to do, plus 1 campus supervisor who would end up being here to be with the kids when they come here and make sure that they'll get off campus. So the total cost, approximate total cost to purchase to purchase for the high school, one class, $107,000 for those 20 days.
I'm sorry, Gary, how many kids did you say? 30.
30 middle school students, 30 high school, that's their maximum.
So it would be 60 kids for that 107, or
No.
is it 107 for each?
That's only for one high school.
One.
One high school summer class would be 107,000. That's
For
approximately.
30 kids.
For up to 30 kids, yes. Now, you know, if this campus supervisor ends up staying a little bit longer because the parent didn't come pick up the child, you know, that's why it says approximate on there. Then I said, okay, well, that's for the high school. What about for the middle school? And if we were to purchase the equipment for one summer class, up to 30 students, their cost that they would charge us for the middle school, plus our additional paying for the campus supervisor, paying for the teacher to be in the classroom, approximately $75,000 for one class of 30 students for 4 hours of summer school for 20 days. And I said, well, what if we choose not to get married, we just want to date a little bit and we want to rent the equipment? So renting for the high school, for that same one summer class, renting the equipment, our approximate cost would be $56,000. So it's a little bit less. This, we would not, it's like leasing a car. You never own it at the end, you know, you pay that thing up. But if you were to rent every year for however many years, it would be cheaper in the long run to purchase. So if you're gonna rent the equipment for high school, that's your cost. If you're gonna rent the equipment for the middle school for one summer class, 20 days, 30 kids, so $52,000 on there.
That's
So-
4 hours a day, you said?
4 hours, like 8 to 12, yes, for those 20 days. So then, okay, it's time to send out the surveys. So I got with both admins of the middle school and the high school, sent out the surveys. Students, here's the parameters now. We're gonna look at doing this. And we said, click yes. Also got with the parents, because the parents are the ones who have this older high school student has a driver's license. The parent has to get the student here, and the parent has to pick up the student. So we send out the survey for the summer, and we close the survey as of May 1st. So they had some time to sign up. And as of May 1st, we had 6 high school students and 10 middle school students that were interested in doing the summer program. Using Dr. Sullivan's analogy of, you know, 25 kids gets us an AP class, let's think outside the box. So we went from Plan B to how can we do this with Plan C? Plan C, I was talking with YCP, and I said, well, what about doing something before school or after school, during the school year? Because we don't have that classroom during the day. And so when I asked them, for next school year, we don't have any empty classrooms. Could we do it after school? Could we do it 0 period before school? And the one dilemma that we kept coming back with for the after school program is, if this is a requirement, because it's a lot of money, and you're not gonna say, yeah, you can just show up once a month, right? We would want the kids to be here, just like the basketball coach would say, no, you will be at every practice and every game. It's competing with our kids that go to robotics, Science Olympiad, all of our sports. We do different clubs. We just finished our AP practice, helping with our test help. We do our different intervention groups. That would prevent a student from doing this. Or it would prevent a student from, our money makers are robotics and Science Olympiad. It would prevent our kids from getting to do something on there. So that, let's just go into the 0 period. Let's try this. If we did 1 hour before school, 2 days a week, high school kids and middle school kids that want to get up 5 days a week, so 2 days a week, what would that cost be? If we started at from 7:25 to 8:25 for 1 hour, that would give the kids 5 minutes, and we could bump it a little earlier. That would give the kids 5 minutes, go to the bathroom, get your breakfast, run to class for school starts at 8:30. They would get no credit for the course because it's only 2 days a week on there. What's that cost? To purchase the equipment for the high school, for a 1 0 period class, up to 30 students, 2 days a week, with their costs, with our costs, because we would need a teacher present, We need a campus supervisor there. The campus supervisor now would be a little cheaper because we'd only need them before, after the kids are just in regular school. The approximate final cost would be about $136,000. If we were to purchase equipment for our high school, zero period. For our high school, the rent, about $93,000. So we sent out that survey. Now that we had the parameters, we knew where we're going. Hey, kids, high school, this is what we would be offering. This is the time. We didn't even say it was going to be Tuesday, Thursday, or Monday, Friday, whatever. We just said 2 days of the week. How many of you are interested in doing that? As of yesterday, we had 15 students that said they were interested in doing that. And it goes into Dr. Sullivan's situation that we're going into. At what point, and this is one of my questions I'm going to ask you, at what point are we going? I know I was talking with Mr. Trujillo earlier, and he actually mentioned that it took a couple of years at Palmdale to get this going. So is this something that, you know, when our counselors are meeting with the kids, as they're planning their classes, as we get going to the forward, through the future, is this something that, you know, we advertise on there? We did send the link with the surveys, so the parents, the students were able to look at the program and make that decision on that. One of the things that we'd have to decide and talk about, if we go forward with this YCP, there's a lot of equipment. You saw that list. It's not gonna fit in here. Are we gonna need to buy some storage thing on there? The funding, I'll let Roseanne explain this a little bit, but that's me to be determined a little bit. What I did do is I got a Prop 28 waiver for the last 2 years. I submitted it to LA County, I got approved, so we can use some of that Prop 28 money that I got waived for the last 2 years. And if we were to do that, we would have money to buy the equipment.
How much is that?
Depends which one you want.
No, the money that you said you got approved.
Do you remember?
So, I'll just give you a quick thing, Prop 28. Prop 28 was originally voted on by the state of California to bring arts and music into the schools. The way it's written, 80% of it has to go to employee salaries and only 20% on supplies. We get about $360,000 a year. You have to use it like our 23-24 money that Mr. Schatz has, that we have for 23-24, we have to spend by June 30th, and then we send it back. So if you don't spend it, you have to send it back. The waiver he received for 23-24 and 24-25 allows us to spend more money on supplies and less money on actual personnel. When you go into 25-26 this year, we don't have a waiver. So this year's money has to be spent 80% on people. This is a contractor, so you're not spending it on hiring a person, a staff. So we do have those limitations going forward, but as of right now, it's about $360,000 a year. We also have, with that money, we also have elementary school that is spending it on certain art stuff, and if middle school does, and if you hire an art teacher or something, eventually that's $120,000, so that is how it
Does that money that you mentioned right now that has to be used towards hiring, can that be used towards the teacher's salary that needs to be there?
Yes.
Can, I mean, buying the equipment is a one-time thing, right? That's a one-time cost. I guess I would like to hear a little bit of what the pros are about this, because I feel like we've just listened to all the cons about this. So what is the program about? What the benefits for the kids? Because that will outweigh the cost and how we have to do things. So I think it's worth hearing what the program has to offer, because I think that, I don't know, when we were here, or what was it, Dennis? When the Palmdale School Districts was here, some of the kids were voicing their desire of something like this, because they want to be, you know, we do a lot of STEM, which is perfectly wonderful, but we chose to add an A to the STEM, so now we need to fill that A. And filling that A is part of this. So it is gonna bring a little bit of doing because it's not gonna fill itself. We're gonna have to figure out ways to put programs in place and how do we do that?
Right.
And it's not gonna be a one-time program. It's gonna be a program going on because we're not gonna offer it 1 year and then have other kids that wanna continue on it. So that A is gonna cost us a little. So I think it's worth hearing what the pros are.
Sure, thank you. And it's actually one of the things that Ms. McLaren is doing, is she is hiring herself an art teacher, and that falls into here, where 80% of this money has to be on our staff, not on the outside staff, right? And so, next year, we would be fine. It's a year after that, because now the waivers are gone. The year after that, we may not have the money to be able to pay for the YCPs, staff.
Right. But I believe there's, I guess, look, and the board can also chime in on this, but I'm looking at it in a way that there's partnerships out there, right? I'm gonna give an example that this school is a great example for, and that is our robotics team. And I think Ellen can correct me if I'm wrong here. But when we started that robotics team, actually Gary, you can, because your son was on that team from day one.
I was.
Where were we? We were in a kindergarten classroom at Sage Elementary that had a lot of things that they were storing in there. And you know what? We did what we could. And where, Ms. Celeste knows as well, and where is the robotics team now? We have an amazing robotics workshop. We have put many kids through that program. I have, kids that I see now from that program giving back at robotics at this school. So I understand, and I'm just voicing my opinion here, is that for me, whatever is possible to give these kids a chance to have an opportunity to thrive in what they have passions for and plant seeds in them at this age is worth it. So I think hearing what this program is about and looking at the possibilities of it, and I know I'm not the only vote on this board, this has to be a consensus, but I think looking at it the reverse, because looking at it this way is like, wow, these are a lot of obstacles, but what if we look at it the other way and we have some kids thrive? Quartz Hill High has a great program as well. I've been there to, it's what vision we have to make it happen. And so I think the Palmdale School District is doing a great job with it too. Ellen?
So I have a question. Since the Palmdale School District has this program, do they own the equipment?
Yeah, they've had it
So
for so many years.
I find the idea of doing it as a summer program interesting. Is there any way that we could partner with Palmdale School District so that we don't have to repurchase everything? I don't know if they do it over the summer currently, but maybe that's like a new opportunity for their students and we combine forces.
That's another option, I don't know.
Maybe we could ask that in a partnership meeting?
Yes.
And I know, Gina, you met some of the principals at your last ASCA meeting, but.
Oh, no, I talked to the YCP people.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, the YCP. But
So I guess
what did they say about the program like that?
I think it's a great program, I really do. I like the idea of it. I just wanna know if the board is stuck on, not stuck, that's not the right word, is the board, I don't know the right word. Are you wanting YCP or are you wanting film? Because I know that ABC offers a film entire school, but they would do dual enrollment with us. So we could offer some to kids that wouldn't wanna do 0 period, we could do both, maybe, I don't know.
I just
saw
really
that program
understand
that,
what
I
YCP
saw the
is.
program that ABC has, and I just wanna make sure it's not going to be just classroom stuff and they're not gonna be actually learning on hands, which
Yeah,
this
according to
program
that, I
all
mean,
is.
I think you got more information than I had, but I just heard from one of my colleagues over there that they have a whole film school. Yeah, but I don't know what the board, if the board prefers using this company, then you'd have to direct us with that.
Well, I'll keep going, and then I'll ask you that question. So, speaking about ABC, which is the next slide.
But before we move on, Gary, can we find out a little bit of YCP, what they do? Because I'm like,
I won't tell you
I don't know,
that.
do you guys know what it is? Because I haven't had I know Dennis has shared, but I haven't toured, I haven't.
I won't tell you their whole half-hour
Okay.
presentation, but what they said is the kids write scripts. They do like YouTube, they make YouTube videos. So the kids write scripts, the adults kind of give them like some guidelines what they should be writing about. After they're done with the scripts, then they go outside and they film. Like when we saw, there was, you know, and action, and a couple kids are acting what they're gonna do, and somebody's recording it. Then they take it in and they match up, because outside with the wind and the airplane flying over, so they take it inside and then they match up in their soundproof room. Then they record their voices over to whatever just happened on there. And then after that, they put it all together and they make the film.
So they learn editing,
Yeah.
they learn how to do all that stuff, right? It's not just recording, they learn the terminology, the concept, the.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
And then they have a culminating, what's it called, the
Present.
Premiere.
a premiere of the red carpet. It's pretty
Yeah, the Chinese theater down in Hollywood.
Awesome.
They take the kids all down there and they'll sit in the theater and watch their film being shown.
So when I got the results for zero period, plan D, what else can we do, right? And so I reached out to our dual enrollment people at the Antelope Valley College, and I asked them, I said, hey, do you have a film production? Some sort of theory and history program going on? And they do, they actually sent me their, I can get a degree in that, their AA degree in all those different courses. Some of the courses that are in there that would be a required elective are what we just talked about. Actually, I shared this with Dennis earlier on there. But currently, they don't have anything that's a dual enrollment option. But my favorite quote of the day today is, however, TPAA could very well be the first to have that option. And, you know, we were, those of you that were in the partnership meeting with Palmdale, at Palmdale School District, we had them come and we talked about, we were stuck with our 4 classes and they've completely changed because we've done this. So our kids we have 5 now classes that we get, but our kids also have what's called the special permit class. And so we have access to the other high schools' dual enrollment courses. And if it's a course, like earlier you were talking about chemistry, if it's a course that ABC offers, our counselors can meet with the student and the parent, and then they assign this thing, and they can ask for a special permit to take any course at ABC. And with that process, she said, in the meantime, your students are absolutely able to enroll in those courses on that list that you have there as a special admit students. And she said, and next week, the plan is that they're gonna give all the schools their enrollment packet, stuff where we sign up for our classes that we're going to take. That should be coming next week. And TPAA very well could ask for one of those courses that's on that list. You could ask for more than one. We pay for our dual enrollment courses through a grant that we get. It doesn't cost us a penny out of our traditional money. It's because of this grant that we have. So.
Question, Gary, sorry.
Sure.
This is not available to middle school kids, right?
If we were to do the zero period
I
option.
mean, the dual enrollment at ABC is
No,
not
it's not.
available to
High
middle
school.
school kids.
Sure, high school. And if we did the zero period, that would be for high school.
Only. It would limit the high school,
Correct.
the middle school kids.
Correct.
Okay.
With the zero period, parents would have to get them.
Correct. Yep, because we do not have school buses. So they find their way here. And then they would have to get, during the summer, they get picked up. Zero period, they would just go into the regular school day.
When the kids were polled interest, how was that done? Was it done with an
Parents were
example?
surveyed.
But it wasn't the kids themselves, they didn't get to see what they are actually gonna be able to do in that program
They sent
visually.
the information was a link that they could click on, and it went to that website of this company.
But it went to the parents, not to the kids.
The very first one that we sent out months ago went to the students, and then we had 31 students that said, yeah, I'd be interested in something like that. And then we
All
said-
middle school,
No,
31
high
middle
school, middle school combined. And then when we sent it out, it was like, well, yeah, but what if little Gary says yes, but mom says, oh no, you don't, we're gonna be in North Dakota for the
No,
summer.
I'm saying, when when it was offered to them about being on campus during the school day,
Can't be during the school day, we don't have room for it.
well, after school,
Zero period.
After school.
school.
that they're already here, right? They go to Minecraft, they go to robotics, they go to science Olympiads. Was it shown to, like, have they actually seen? Because sometimes kids don't perceive like what that is, but if they see what it is, they'll be like, oh, I want to do that. I mean, I'll use robotics again as an example, I'm sorry. But that was my child. He was going to a soccer after school sign up, and for some reason he took off to robotics. And when he saw what it was, I ended up in Tehachapi the next weekend at 7 o'clock in the morning.
I was there.
Because and his eyes lit up, right? So I think I would like to give it another jab to show it to the kids, but with what is it that they're gonna do? I guess I don't think that we have touched them to really get the numbers of who would be interested. This is something that I think kids would, with social media, with YouTube and TikTok and all that, I just don't see how we wouldn't get more numbers
I know they have
here
waiting
of kids
lists.
that are
They
interested.
have waiting lists for kids that want it.
And it's
I
actually,
think-
this is something they can take with them for life.
Yes.
This is
Yes,
actually a career that they can make, you know.
and then,
So we're actually putting something in that they can move forward with.
What I would like to suggest to the board is that we do a summer school program like I think Ellen mentioned or some.
that's a little bit more challenging.
But we can, let me, so I just wanna get through this whole thing. Offer the summer school program to get the interest, because that's where we have the most students who are interested. Then they start talking about it and we see. I also want to caution our board, because my job as superintendent is to make sure we are fiscally solvent. And I worry, especially with the talk about the AP classes and hiring more staff and having 0 periods, I 100% do not want to do layoffs. I don't. I try to avoid them at all costs. And when we hire a bunch of people and add a bunch of things and have all these add-ons, and we are already at 1.21 with our covenant, and we're only allowed to be at 1.2, we might not meet our covenant, and that is a huge fiscal issue. We have the funds right now to at least start this, and if the kids love it, then we have to look at what we're dropping, but I think if we keep adding, we're going to eventually have to close the school because of fiscal solvency. I want that to be a real issue, and maybe we do a study.
Well, I want to make something clear. I don't want people to feel by hearing that we could end up closing the school. Anybody perceives that that is anything that we're close to, or that this board would allow to happen without being wise in the decisions we make. By us asking, and I'm sorry if I'm speaking for all of you on this, for information to come back and pull kids and see the interest, it's not that we are going to say, okay, yes, we're gonna do this blindly without thinking about this, obviously not. But this is a great program, and there's a good opportunity here to dive into it and look to it a little bit more thorough. I think we reach out to the kids again and show them what is the possibilities of this, and if there's interest, one, we've already confirmed that there's some funding available that we got a waiver from, unless there's other use for that money, because it doesn't seem like there is. We use it towards that, and we see how it moves forward. There's partnerships out there. There's people, I mean, the Palmdale School District did not start this on their own. There's others. There's other agencies, there's other organizations that if they see there's interest here for kids that we can seek, there's grants, there's other things to do. But I think giving the kids the opportunity, and for me, the middle school kids are critical here. That's an age group where kids make decisions that are not wise. It's not so much the high school kids sometimes, it's the middle school kids. So we need to set certain things for them as well. And this has that option. Doing the dual enrollment eliminates them. I would rather have them included, because they'll surprise us, amaze us as to what we can do. So I think it's an opportunity. I know Dennis has been advocating this for a while. I had not, and I apologize for this, I hadn't really focused on what he was sharing that the program was about. So now that I see it, I'm like, you know, there's kids that are gonna be successful in many different areas and not all the same. We've done a lot of robotics here. It's an amazing program. I love it. I would never want it to disappear. Science Olympiads and stuff. We don't offer a lot of sports either, right? So we have to offer things to them that is going to entice them and keep them focused. So a little bit of clarity back to the board on a possible option. We've heard all the A, B, C, and D, and I appreciate the information, but I think we can try this. I don't see, we won't find out if it's gonna work or not if we don't try. I guess that's my thoughts of just saying no from the get-go. The dual enrollment doesn't offer the opportunity to the middle school kids, and it allows for the kids to have to be off campus, or the high school kids. It's the same thing as having them come to zero period if they don't have a ride and all that. But please, if you could just hold them and show them, send them a video, have them look at it in class or something. I don't know, the middle school principal is here.
You can do it in Google Classroom.
Yes, just to show them, because I can't comprehend that they more wouldn't have interest. Am I maybe
I
wrong?
wanna say on
You can tell
record
me
too,
I'm
I
wrong.
wasn't saying the board is causing us to do that, I
No,
just,
no.
I just wanna make
I
sure.
don't
'Cause-
take that way.
Okay, or that
No.
we're closing, I just want us to be cautious of it, because tonight alone, we talked about hiring a HR director and then adding courses. I just want us to be mindful, and I would love direction from the board on what our priorities are, because if this is a priority, this is a great program, we think that, we went and saw it and loved it, but there's like 10,000 things that could be a priority. Another priority for me is actually sports at the middle school, they've been asking for more. But we're tight with money with that too. I mean, they're asking for, I just got an email from students wanting a softball team. So we have to figure out where are we saying no and where are we saying yes, you know? And so I'd love to have that conversation, so we don't go in the future having to cut a bunch of things.
Understood. I don't
Yeah.
think we've approved anything
Yeah,
tonight. We've
no.
asked for
Yeah.
information back to make decisions.
Well, I've got a few comments on this, if that's okay. You know, I think doing something like this is fantastic for the A in STEAM and arts. And way back in the day, I took a video production and photography class in high school and still use some of those skills I gained with my kids. I think this type of class would be fantastic. I'll admit that I had a little bit of sticker shock when I saw the numbers that came back, and some of the and Nardi, I appreciate you mentioning how robotics started, and it started small, and once the school knew that there was huge interest, then we grew that. And I wonder, how do we start this small and prove the interest and grow? I think jumping straight into YCP, although they are fantastic, that's jumping both feet in, and I don't know if it's sustainable going forward. I had wondered about the dual enrollment path as one option. And another option, is there a way to just do a basic photography and videography production class now? I know we've got some of that in yearbook. Is there a way to expand it to a separate class to see what the real interest is, and maybe go forward that way for a couple of years? I think YCP would be fantastic, but I'm hesitant with all these other things that we're trying to decide. You know, do we do YCP instead of Chem AP that we were just talking about? I'd hate to start it one year and then not be able to fund it in future years. It's a great program. It's really expensive. I think there's more prudent ways to start this type of skill set in the school that would be more prudent.
Can I ask you, Gary, to go back the slides of the cost?
Sure. Which,
You know, going back to the sports thing, you know, my son was in track and they just had CIF quarterfinals, and the track team had to go borrow jerseys from each other because the school hasn't even been able to afford to get all all members of the track team same jerseys, and the relay teams in CIF had to have the same jerseys. And we haven't even been able to fund that. So, I think there's things that are lacking and things that we're concerned about canceling now as far as AP because of funding and teachers, and adding another really expensive program before caring for what we have is a little concerning for me. I think there's cheaper ways to begin building the interest at the school.
Understood. So, I'll have something on this slide, but go ahead with you.
Oh, okay. I just, for middle school, because we're thinking about the video production stuff and all that stuff, so I reached out to an after-school company. And so for next year, they gave us a quote. And one of the after-school program that we have lined up, because using the Prop 28 money, like Gary said, we're planning on trying to have art at middle school.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, we will have art at middle school. And so I was thinking about because like Gina said, we begging for sports, and she's like, we can't afford it. So we have basketball. We're all happy with basketball. So I'm looking at, I reach out to the after school company, and we look at arts like dance, and one of the arts that we chose was video production and claymation. And so they gave us a quote for that, and it has to do with teaching the kids the same skills, but on a cheaper rate, because they will bring all their equipment at the end of the day, and they will teach the kids how to make short films, claymation, animation, and that's what they will learn at the end of the day. And they gave us a quote for it and everything, and we will be able to use Prop 28. So that's just a start to see if that's something they like, and that's something they're into. Then maybe next time we could come back and say, all right, then this is on a bigger scale, because we got the interest, because they will be doing it after school.
Did did we poll them on that?
No, I was just looking, I haven't done that yet.
Okay.
I was just looking at what kind of art can we bring to middle school for next year.
Okay.
I did poll the kids on dance, different types of dance, and that's why I looked into dance. But these are just other options that I got, and to see what are the kids interested in. Because they're always making TikTok videos and all that stuff.
Right.
So just using their phone and other video equipments to make YouTube shorts.
Right.
That's what the company will do.
Thank you for that. Yes, I think it's very important that we get their input too, right? We don't want to go extra. What I was gonna say about this slide is the 107,000, that is not a set amount each year, right? Because that includes the equipment purchase, which is one-time cost. The program management, what does that cover?
That'll always be the same. The only thing that would be different would be the equipment.
I know, but what
We
does
bought
it, what
we
does
would,
it?
We would need to like a Chromebook said once, so you have to update a little bit. So there may be a little bit of cost, but that would be it. The instruction is the teacher that comes and leads that. The orientation PD is the guy who oversees the company. The program management is the guy who comes and works with the teacher. It's like the principal, because the teacher would be the instruction. So the program management is like the principal of the YCP company to make sure that the teacher's doing what they're supposed to be doing on there. And then, so the equipment purchase, once it's purchased, it'd be done. Which is why I said at the beginning about we could rent or we could buy.
So it drops the cost from 94,000 to 35,000 in the
Right.
second year.
And then the question is, do we typically always have a teacher present
We
in
are
after
required to have
school?
a teacher present.
In
for
after
this
school
YCP.
programs, there has to be a teacher there.
For this YCP program, they
In the
require.
classroom. Okay, so the 107 is not going to be an annual,
That's for the first year, if we purchase.
for the first year,
It'll be
that's what I'm
$60,000
saying.
less.
If we rent the equipment, wrong way. You can see it drops down because.
Right, but if we go back to the previous slide, the 107 is not going to be the set number every time, it's gonna be reduced by almost more than $60,000.
59,000 minus
Right.
anything that we have to throw in extra because some camera got broken.
So technically, it would be about, Dennis, $35,000? Because we're not gonna buy equipment every single time,
No.
right?
40, about
That's what I'm saying,
47,000.
that we are looking at it as, this is gonna be $107,000 every time, right? But it's not, it's going to be
47.
about
47.
$40-something thousand dollars
47.
each time.
So my perspective is, I think more educational opportunities for kids is a good thing. I think it's worth it for us to continue to explore different avenues to add arts education, but I think it would be very beneficial, going back to my previous comment, for us to explore the possibility of partnership
agree.
with Palmdale School
I
District, which would defray the equipment costs and then would deal with the issue of us not having a soundproof room. I think it's worth it to explore opportunities with ABC as well, and the other after-school opportunities for the arts. I don't know that it makes sense for us to vote on anything
No.
at this point,
No.
but just continue with the data collection and revisit this at a future meeting.
What does the soundproofing that they are saying is needed, what does that
They're not saying
require?
No, I've clarified that, they don't need
Yeah,
it.
that was
Yeah,
the
they're not
reason.
saying it's needed, the
Okay.
teacher over
Teacher.
Palmdale didn't say that.
Okay.
But
got
there
it.
are a lot of schools that have the program without the soundproof room.
I will say, if we are thinking of the summer, we'd have to decide next board meeting at the latest, because we were letting families know, and then kids are gonna drop off who can do it.
So can we?
Can we ask
Yeah.
at the next partnership meeting if there would be any way for us to do a collaboration?
I think we
with
could
Palmdale
probably
School
reach out before that. We can ask the Palmdale School District to see, at least we can get that response before. But in the meantime, maybe before the next meeting, can we pull the kids in a way that, I don't know, that they get to see visually what it is that they would be doing, not just the title of what the program is, and they understand. So at least, and if you know what, if we don't get any interest, fine. At least we did it that way and we tried.
Well,
If we get less interest, right? But at least let's try that, so that we know as a board, to look at, you know, is it necessary or appropriate for us to keep pursuing this option, et cetera, just so that we know, because, you know, some of the parents, maybe they haven't shown it to the kids. It happens, it happens. So I think the kids are the ones that should be able to say, they're old enough to say, I wanna do that, I don't wanna do that.
You might be able to get somebody from YCP to come out in the next couple of weeks and do something during the lunch hour or set up a table and show the kids so you don't have to.
I can
do it.
Just to give them the opportunity, I know,
Our
a
next
little bit more
partnership
work,
is May
but,
21st, so it is next Thursday.
okay.
So we have one coming, so it's probably timely to have that conversation with them and can be agendized with them.
Okay, perfect. That'll be great, just, let's see what happens.
Okay.
Thank you so much,
Well,
Gary.
wait, I've got one more slide
all the
for
other
you to think about since I'm going.
For giving us all the A, B,
Since I'm
C,
still
and D.
standing. I haven't tipped over yet. This is what I would need you to also decide. If we're gonna go this route, right, is that, same question. What would be the minimum?
I think
30 students is
I
the
think we have to
maximum?
be close to the 30.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we
Yeah,
have
I mean, if that's the requirement, then yes,
I
that
think we
makes
have to be
sense,
very
right?
close to that
They're
30.
not gonna give us a discount and we have less
No.
kids, right?
No, so
Okay.
we have to be close to
Yeah.
that.
If you have
30.
one or you have 30, you pay the same price.
Yeah, understood.
Okay.
That's why
And they
I say
don't,
if you bring them out to try and sell it, and they can't get to 30, then we'll have to think about it.
and they don't
Another
combine
year.
middle school with high school, right? They don't combine middle
No,
school
they
with high
said
school.
at the right at the very beginning, they're like, oh no, wait, do.
Okay, no, yeah.
Maybe Dennis.
One more question. If I can get these YCP people to come out during the lunchtime, are we going summer school route to ask the kids, or are we going zero period route to ask the kids?
I think you pull them in, this is what you would be doing, and if you're interested, what works better for you, summer
Okay.
or after school? And then that way they give the answer and we see what the majority responds.
Okay.
I like starting with the middle school.
And the middle school,
So that's the
yeah.
summer one, right? I like starting with the middle school, just to see if they
It's
like
less.
it, then they're gonna want it in high school if they like it.
It's less money. And the purchase of equipment would be one shot for both sides, right? And not like purchase for high school and purchase for middle
Yes,
school.
we buy middle school equipment, goes in this room, we buy high school equipment, goes
Is
in
it
this
the
room.
same equipment?
There was a couple things that overlap, but while the middle school kids are using it, then the high school is sitting there doing nothing.
No, I'm saying, well,
So
It's a
you-
lot.
I'm thinking like we wouldn't offer both at the same date, same time, that they could use they could share the equipment.
we would be paying more than for YCP to come, because they're gonna be coming with a middle school teacher and mapping thing on there. So I can ask that, it would be 2 different times, cause are we going from 8 to 12, are we going from 1 to 5 then? Because then you're paying for that. So,
And then the other issue, we also have to talk to the teacher because of all the equipment has to be shared in a classroom, in an actual classroom they're using. So, yeah. It's a lot, it's like a whole classroom.
It's a storage.
You saw the list there?
Yeah, the one on Courtfield.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks a lot, Gary.
Thank you, Gary. Okay, we have one more item, 1.4.
Dress code.
Recommendation to approve the academy dress code.
So the board had asked me to bring this forward. We had some ideas originally of doing a logo polo and requiring all students to wear it. And when we did our research, we, by Ed Code, which does apply to us in this situation, we would be calling that a uniform when we require any student to wear something with our logo that we make them wear. So that would require 6 months of notice to parents, as well as an opt-out where students could opt out from wearing it. If you don't do a uniform where it's required with a logo, but you have a dress like code, like we want collared shirts, and they can pick whatever, we give them a parameter of colors, it doesn't fall under that, and we can make that a policy. So what I brought before you, since we don't have time to do the 6 months of input for a uniform, is this dress code. This has been done in conjunction with teacher leadership groups and classified staff as well, and of course administration. And I did speak with Ms. Lopez in a gender review about it, and I would love you to share your idea about the sweatshirts, because we could do that, and we could provide that for the students with some of our supplemental funding. And then that would be optional for kids.
So what I had, I mean, there is, I think it's Rosalinda from security.
Yes.
The other day she had on a TPAA hoodie sweatshirt. It was nice. And so in order to keep some consistency, right, during the winter time, it may be good to have branded hoodies
Right.
for the kids to use versus having them bring their own, because that's gonna defeat the purpose, or polos are gonna be hit underneath. And so I think it'll have a little bit more of a consistency. I mean, they don't all have to be identical. I know the robotics team has their hoodies, they work for their teams, right? And I'm sure some of the sports teams have their own, so they could wear that. So I'm thinking at least that gives them some, it gives some consistency and standard. And that's something I believe the school would need to provide to the kids, to make the hoodies. So that was just a thought. Does the board have any
Just a couple of
comments?
small things, like changing the words dress code guidelines to policy instead of guidelines. Just, I don't want to make it sound like it's just a suggestion.
Very true.
It is going to be the policy of the school district. And then
I agree with that, Dennis.
Okay, thanks. And then just move the paragraph where it starts with the shirts up above where the alcohol thing starts. So we talk about what the clothing that were required first. So, and then 2 other things. One is adding something about baggy clothes, baggy shorts or pants,
You know what
so
I
they're not
think?
sagging down.
One of the ones that I had from,
So where it says clothing, accessories, or personal items worn by students, you want that whole section put toward at the bottom of all the clothes, different clothes?
Yeah, just
Okay.
kind of move that off. And then I want to find out what is the stiffest discipline we can do if we have somebody that continues to violate the dress code policy. I don't know if you can actually ask somebody to leave the school or not for a dress code.
We have to find that out, I can.
Yeah.
And I think
Do you know, Chris?
what I do, and we'll probably discuss this in closed session, but because of the ed code we had to use in order to give discipline, you may end up in the same situation where it would be the same ed code,
Okay.
but there are some things that can be done.
Okay. Because I want the school to become a special school. If for some reason a parent doesn't want their kid to have to do this, then they're not required to come here. we're not like the high school, Palmdale High School. You can go somewhere else if you want, if you're here. At Palmdale, they're probably stuck going there so they can push back a little farther. If you don't want to live by the rules we're gonna have, then we have 700 people on the waiting list.
Ellen, do you have any questions?
No.
Justin, do you have any comments? Cheryl?
Just that I appreciate this. This is something that I've thought we needed to get back to. I've disliked the direction the dress code has gone over the last few years, so I appreciate looking to go back this way. And like Dennis said, we need to do something to set the school apart, and our goal is to teach our students to be business and job professionals, and that starts here. This is part of it.
Yeah, the baggy, where did you want that? Because that is the latest fashion trend for
Right
children.
Baggy's okay,
Students-
just not sagging down.
Oh, saggy.
More
Okay,
saggy,
I was
yeah.
gonna say that's taking a lot of.
In the
Baggy's okay.
Your underwear should not be shown.
Thank you.
That-
Do not show
that is
any
what it was.
undergarments.
In the
Yes.
Paraclete High School one, it says students may not wear oversized or baggy pants, excessively tight jeans or skinny jeans. That's what it says here. And I don't know if we can write it in a way where it's a bit more of summary than, with a little bit more maybe meat to it. Per se, like, I'll give an example. This one says students must wear a red, white, black, or gray uniform polo shirt with the PHS logo. Obviously, we're not gonna have a logo. The uniform shirt must be purchased, blah, blah. Flannel or hooded shirts are not permitted. Turtlenecks are, they're like more descriptive. For pants, students may only wear cotton or corduroy pants that accommodate use of a belt. And I understand, maybe we don't need to get into like deep in the weeds like that. However, I think it should be a little bit more broken down so when they read it, they understand like these are the things permitted and they don't come back saying, oh, well, shirts, a polo shirt and a selection of several academy colors, blue. But it doesn't like specify what like extra information. I think the other ones everywhere, even the one from AV Union High School District is a little more descriptive. And I think that helps with clarity for parents specifically, right? That we're making this switch so they have more clarity in regards to it. So I don't know if that, this one even says studded or spiked belts are not permitted. It's like they're very, and this one is AV Union High School. Clothing that depicts gang-style writing, illegal activity,
Yeah, we have.
obscene gestures or references to tobacco, drugs, or alcohol is not permitted. Any words or pictures that depict violence or intimidation or otherwise pose a threat to student safety are also prohibited. All shirts and tops must cover the midriff at all times, and shirts cannot be buttoned only at the top. Prohibited styles include tank tops, strapless tops, spaghetti straps, off-the-shoulder shirts, cut-off designs, low-cut shirts, bareback shirts, and sheer or mesh clothing worn without an appropriate shirt underneath.
Well, if they're only allowed to wear polos, it
Yeah.
eliminates all those.
Well,
Someone
it's
says
good
they
to
just
also
want to
to
just
know
make
the
polo
numbers.
shirts. Polo shirts to take care of it.
Recommend veering in the direction of the high school district, as Paraclete is a private school.
Correct, correct.
And they have completely
Correct.
different rules they can
Yeah.
follow as
No,
well as
no,
us.
correct,
Yeah.
correct, yeah. That one is from, and I didn't go through all of them because I saw that the AV Union High School District had like specific to each high school, but I didn't get to go through all of them to see what was the difference amongst them or if it was all the same, but they did have that. So, how do we move forward with this item? Do we, bring it back
Bring
with
it back.
some of the additional
bring it back.
items?
Some of the changes.
Okay,
Fine, bring it back.
so we,
I recommend that we bring this item back to a further future meeting.
Seconded.
okay, call for the vote, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And
Aye.
those opposed say nay, okay. So now we are off to our closed session. Any public, comments or announcements regarding closed session? No, okay, so the regular meeting adjourns at this moment, 7:54 to closed session. closing closed session and resuming the regular meeting of the Palmdale Aerospace Academy at 9:11. One reportable action, it was motion made by Mr. Trujillo with a second by Ms. Gardner to deny the suspension appeal of student 2025-2026-03. The votes are as follows: Board Member Knowles, aye. Board Member Gardner, aye. Board Member Lee, aye. Board Member Trujillo, aye. And Board Member Lopez, aye. Oh, and Board Member McIsaac, aye. And that was the item. We don't have anything else to report of closed session, but do we have any board member reports for tonight? Gardner, McIsaac? I do not. Are you, Ms. Lynch?
Yeah, thank you for coming to the events, and we'll keep inviting you to the lots coming up.
Thank you.
Oh,
We
just
are
got
closing,
No, just
the
said we
meeting?
just got invited to another one.
oh, we did, the Yule Ball. So I was looking forward to that. Closing the meeting at 9:12.